Aloha and welcome to the KupunaWiki radio show. This month we are continuing the conversation on senior housing and adult daycare. We have in studio Eric Fleming and Aiza Pobre with Palolo Chinese Home. KupunaWiki is Hawaii's senior resource. We talk to the best local professionals in the state regarding topics such as real estate, senior housing, estate planning, finance, and health, so our Kupuna families can find the best resources in the midst of a life transition. We strive to make sure our seniors are informed and supported every step of the way. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Brandon Lau.
And I'm Andrew Leon,
your host for the KupunaWiki radio show.
The title sponsor for today is Janie Brooks Choice Advisors, providing you with the best real estate information so you can make the most informed decisions. As they like to say, real estate is about choice. To contact them, call 753-9033.
And now we have a real estate tip of the week brought to you by Janie Brooks Choice Advisors.
A home exemption is a benefit given to homeowners who reside in their properties. A home exemption in Hawaii allows for homeowners to reduce a certain amount from their taxable property value. The basic home exemption is $100,000. If you are a homeowner and a primary resident of your property, don't forget to complete the complete a claim for home exemption form and send it in as soon as possible.
Alright, if I'm not mistaken, you have a deadline for that homeowner exemption form.
Deadline is September 30th.
That's right. So if you haven't filled it out, please do so. For more information on a homeowner exemption, please contact Janie Brooks Choice Advisors at 753-9033. Again, today in studio, we have the pleasure of speaking with Eric Fleming and Aiza Pobre.
Aiza
Pobre. Thank you, Andrew. Both from Palolo Chinese Home. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Okay. Well, your facility has such a great reputation, and I know you've been serving the islands for over 100 years, actually, right? Maybe you can share a little bit of the history of the Palolo Chinese Home and how you personally got involved serving this capacity.
Yeah, thank you. So again, you touched base on our years serving the community. So we're 124 years serving the community. Yeah, at our location, we're celebrating 100 years of serving Kupunas in Hawaii. It's grown in size and services over the decades,
right?
And now we're able to provide one of the largest continuum of care, serving especially seniors.
And now you're located in Palolo, but how extensive is your reach into the community?
So reach into the community, it's pretty wide. We have one of our services, Meals to Go program, home delivered meals. We extend our services all the way out to Aina on the east side,
right?
All the way to Kalihi.
So pretty much all of Metro Honolulu.
Yeah. And we're looking to keep expanding,
Okay. Now you, Eric, you work as a manager in what capacity there?
So I'm the food service manager there,
Okay.
Oversee the food production. Basically anything that goes in, out of the kitchen, likes and dislikes, we take comments from the residents, trying to make the meals better. Yeah.
So you're basically the head chef, making sure everything tastes good.
Yeah. Who doesn't love food, right?
Right, exactly. Now, is your background in senior culinary type of work or just culinary in general? And how'd you get to this place with Palolo Chinese Home?
Yeah, so my main background was culinary based. I went to KCC for the culinary arts program.
Okay.
Background-wise, I had 7 years of cooking, small business, helped open restaurants, but
Wow.
I wanted to do something different after I graduated. So looking at the community base, I'm like, we need to help the seniors out,
Right.
and what better place to go into nursing home and look, not saying the food is bad, but let's make it better.
Right. I mean, it does have that component of it's healthy but not necessarily tasty. That's how some people view it. But I think these days, I mean, the taste of boomers in Kupuna, they expect something more than just health.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they need a well-balanced meal.
Yeah, who says, nutritious meals can't be tasty and look good too?
Right. So I'm just curious, how do you guys make that work, that tasty and healthy combination?
Simply teamwork. We have a lot of capable, and I'm honored to have, to work with all the staff there. We have dietitians, we have, like you mentioned, cooks, chefs, people who's involved in and out, even activities, have comments about the residents and inputs. We take all of that in and try to cultivate local taste buds, to improve the quality of care.
So does the food that is served in the community or in the facility, is it the same as the one that's in your home delivered meals, or are they slightly different?
Yeah. So our tasty meals, nutrition as it is, available to in-house residents as well as the community.
Okay. Is there maybe a sampling or some items on the menu that you want to mention just to whet our taste buds?
Yeah, so I got a treat for you guys too. I brought in two meals. One I personally really like. We have the Korean barbecue pork.
Ooh.
Yeah. So one of you guys can get that. The other one is our roast turkey with gravy.
Oh.
Not quite Thanksgiving, but you get
Yeah.
the Thanksgiving feel.
Yeah. Wow, that's great.
Yeah, and don't worry. We make sure it's healthy, it tastes good, but
Right.
sodium is just under par. So it's low sodium. Any modification you folks want, residents, seniors, any of them in the community service, we do modifications too.
Right. And how do so you work together as a team to create this menu, and your nutritionists, they're always there to kind of advise you folks. What kind of work is involved in putting all that together?
Well, it's definitely, consistently improving. We always touch base, we go with our taste buds. We have resident council meeting with all the living residents, give us the input.
Right.
And that's how we continue to make it better. But we also dial in on the nutrition side with the dietitian on staff, yeah.
Now, when we look at your overall breadth of services, maybe you can, aside from the care that you provide in Palolo Chinese Home, what other services would you want to highlight? Maybe people don't necessarily know off the top of their head.
Right, so again, our Meals to Go service, we deliver services all the way up to our boundaries. We have Aina Haina all the way to Kalihi. Do Meals to Go deliver, so hot and cold, up to the convenience. Another thing we do in the community is our wellness program, where we do in-house care, cleaning, any kind of service that the residents may need.
Oh, so the in-house care isn't necessarily like just for the health and well-being of a person, right? Like your ADLs, but you're saying to help them maintain their living situation, some of the chores, etc. You think that is covered under your care as well?
Right, so different levels of care. So we have people who's independent but maybe a little help with cleaning, so we have our cleaning services there. Otherwise, we have services where like companionship, so check up on the Kupuna, come in, say how are you doing, how things going, talk story even. Yeah.
That's awesome, because I think that's one of the things missing in the latter years is you don't always have socialization, right? So to have somebody that can come by and check in.
Right, and that's kind of a peace of mind, right? Like, oh, my auntie's taken care of because we have services from Palolo Chinese Home.
Right. Now, as far as the number of patients that you service or clients that you have even outside, what's your count roughly?
So in-house, we have about 110, 115, plus our daycare, which is fluctuates 10 to 15. Outside of our region, we deliver over 150 meals every day. So put all that together, we do about 500, including our staff.
That's amazing. Now, we're unfortunately still going through this pandemic. It's caused a lot of us to rethink how we think of sanitation, safety protocol, especially with at-risk population, which are our seniors and those with pre-existing conditions. How has that kind of affected the way you folks view service? Has it changed anything at all for you guys?
Well, our safety of our kupunas and all of our staff is our top priority. We do take in contact protocols. We do contactless deliveries. Any other information you folks want regarding our COVID practices, you can look online. Palolo.com or palolo.org, or you can call us at 808-748-4909 for more information.
That's really great. And you're transparent where you just list all the protocol that you guys currently work with.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, when we come back, I want to hear more about the specifics of the healthcare services and that continuum of care that you talked about, which Palolo Chinese Home offers. So we'll talk more about that right after this commercial break.
Oh, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we have Eric Fleming and Aiza Pobre with Palolo Chinese Home. And right before the break, Eric kind of just whetted our taste buds with the sampling of what we can expect when we having our meals at Palolo Chinese Home. But we want to switch gears and talk about the healthcare side. And we have Aiza. She is the daycare and senior care service manager at Palolo. And you touched upon you folks do provide in-home services to folks out of the community. Can you touch upon Eric had touched upon some of the services. What other services do you folks provide?
Okay, so what I manage is the senior daycare and also our Palolo Wellness Program. So one of the services that we offer is what we call the Palolo Wellness Program, which include in-home services like personal care, companionship, home cleaning, and meals to go.
Okay, and so is this service is this a package service, or is it kind of like an a la carte where maybe they may not need the cleaning, but maybe having the companionship is more important to them? How can they choose what they need?
Okay, so there's some clients who does meals to go and also companionship. It's whatever service they want or need. So there are a few people who do our home cleaning, our meals to go, and also companionship. And there's also clients who just do home care.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where a personal nurse aide would go to their home and provide the care at home.
Okay, and so it's an a la carte,
Yes.
right? And are they, again, Brendan had mentioned, during this time of COVID, I'm sure there's extra steps in preparations for, when one of your staff goes out to the community. How is the community receiving your services? I mean, I'm sure, they, in this time, there's a lot of caution with, okay, what's being brought into my home. But I'm sure you folks mentioned you folks have the necessary steps, but have you folks seen an increase of demand services being wanted, or has that been reduced?
So, for example, for our senior daycare, we did close during the month of April, and we reopened in May. Some families were afraid of their families coming due to COVID, but because this COVID, a lot of senior daycare have also closed and stayed closed. So we've been having a lot of new participants coming in, inquiring. We've been receiving new applications, and they are aware and they question, what are we doing? And every day before our staff start their shift, we do our COVID screening where we temp ourselves. We ask all the requirements if we are having any symptoms or if we were ever close to anybody who has COVID.
Mm-hmm.
We also do that to all our participants. We are not allowing any visitors. Same thing for our home care services. All staff are required to wear their masks. They have to temp themselves. They have to make sure that all the clients they're not sick or they don't have any temp or symptoms of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned that you picked up new applicants for your daycare. How is capacity? Are you guys able to take in more? What's the count that you folks are at?
So right now, our daily census, we're up to 18 to 20. We did change our tables to make sure that we are following the 6 feet distance, social distancing. Our senior daycare is pretty big to where we can fit maybe 36 participants in a day, and all our participants would be far from each other. And all our staff are wearing their masks, and we are constantly disinfecting before and after any surfaces or objects.
I wanna talk about your income services.
Okay.
Have you folks seen an increase in demand during this time? Yeah.
Yes. So it's been crazy.
Mhm.
It's a lot of families. Maybe like there's 5 or 6 families that's calling me. Hey, we need home care services. It's because families doesn't want to bring them to the hospital or to other nursing homes because we're not allowing any visitors, or they're just afraid that what can happen to them in the hospital as well.
So I'm curious, Aiza, how do you keep up with the demand? I mean, there's not people to go around. It sounds like, right? I mean, basically, it sounds like you're gonna have to consult with the family and say, okay, we can offer you these days.
Right.
These days, possibly not.
So we do say we require at least a minimum of 4 hours a shift
Right.
because it is hard with staffing. There is a demand in staffing, and we are working with different agencies as well to help us to accommodate and serve our kapunas at home.
And is this all still within that general boundary between like Aina and
Yes.
Kalihi?
Yeah.
And what other avenues or options would there be for people who are in that situation? Let's say you're unable to meet their particular needs at that time. Maybe other agencies.
Yeah,
or-
so we give them different other companies, or if they want to go to our care home, or we have upstairs for respite.
And maybe we can talk about the care home itself. How are your grounds doing these days? I mean, I know you're expanding them, right? And where are you folks as far as that goes?
It's been very tough, especially with families not able to come and visit their loved ones. I don't know if you've seen us on the news, but we've been having a lot of drive visits, and it's just the feeling of seeing the families come to visit them and stay in their car while they just stare at each other. It just makes my heart smile, and at the same time, it's like I know how much they miss each other.
So I mean, every little bit of contact matters.
Counts, yeah, and we've been having a lot of FaceTime every day. There's a schedule that we have to follow.
And I'm curious, have you folks had a long-term plan thought out? Because although this could be temporary, right? At some point, there's going to be a new normal.
Yes.
Right? And what have you folks thought of, and how do you think you'll deal with that?
I feel like we just been going day by day,
Right.
and just trying to keep our kapuna safe and prevent this from spreading.
Right. So, I guess whatever you can do, I mean, you're going to take every precaution necessary.
How are your residents dealing with everything during this time? I mean, obviously they miss having family visits,
Yes.
but they have the other residents there.
Right.
Obviously, you guys are not. You guys are kind of keeping them
Distance.
distant. But I mean, how's the emotions there? How are they dealing with all this?
I feel like they understand, and most of the time, for example, my participants, they try to move their chair to go closer to each other, and we have to constantly remind them, and they think we're crazy. They're like, what are you trying to do to us? But, we just constantly have to remind them, put signs on the table, and they'll follow. But, our activity department has been very good. We've been doing a lot of room visit, providing different activities, individual activities, going around to provide them any magazine or music to listen to, a lot of games.
Keeping everybody on your staff busy.
Yes.
And I want to talk about, are there any requirements as to being a resident at Children's Home? What would obviously is there like an age requirement, the different levels of care that they would need? That if you can kind of touch upon that.
So they would have to work with our admission department. Our admission department will go over the checklist and they would need some physician's order saying that they need this care.
Because it is a continuum,
Yes.
right, from independent to assisted living. And then you also have, I guess, skilled nursing.
Yes.
And if I recall, is memory care also something? Not yet? Okay. But still, that's a lot of ground to cover.
Right. So we try, Palolo Chinese Home wants to make sure that our Kupunas have these services, we try to keep them out of the hospital.
Right. And of course, although the namesake is Palolo Chinese Home, everyone is welcome.
Yes. You don't need to be
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah, but it does speak to the heritage of the facility, right? And the origins. But yeah, I've known a number of families who have had very positive experiences at Palolo Chinese Home. Is there any other more current information you want to provide? Any updates that maybe a family member would want to know if they're considering Palolo Chinese Home relative to any other community out there?
Just want to give it out there that our senior daycare, we are accepting new participants. We do offer shower, TB, PPD skin tests. We are open during the holidays and weekends. We do have extended hours where families can drop off early or pick up early. So,
Okay.
very convenient.
And what would be those times roughly?
So from 7 o'clock to 5:30.
7 o'clock
Yeah.
to 5:30. That's a pretty good, pretty good range. And there's that whole Kupuna Care bill, I guess, that was benefiting people who needed assistance with Kupuna Care. I'm assuming that's something they comply with for on their own,
Mhm.
but would be applicable to daycare here.
And are these services through private pay, or is there?
It's
So
whatever.
sorry.
It's whatever insurance they would have. They
Okay.
would have to work with their coordinators.
Okay. So it's not just private, but
Yeah.
you can work it through their care. Okay.
That's wonderful. Well, if there's somebody who wanted more information about Palolo Chinese Home and the different services that you offer, whether it's your actual living in the community or infant care services or your food services or adult daycare, how can they reach you for that?
You can visit us at our website www.palolohome.org, or you can give me a call at 808-748-4909.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. We have Eric Fleming and Aiza Pobre of the Palolo Chinese Home. Thanks so much for being on our show.
Thank you.
Coming up next, we have our KupunaWiki Classic Trivia.